Hello again, whiskey friends. It's Kelsey back here in the Whiskey Riff Lounge. Today we're going to be doing some cigar rye. This one's going to be interesting because it's batches 1, 2, and 3, and the unique quality of this whiskey is one to really check out and see what you guys think about it, but also how they differ, because they do differ. So let's get into this one right away. Alrighty, welcome back. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to help us grow the channel for this following year, as well as some of our Patreons members will be able to grab some new picks coming on. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description to check that out. We do have a free level as well. So make sure you guys check that out. Today, we're going to be doing some Buzzard's Roost cigar rye. This is what the bottle looks like. So they have batch 1, batch 2, and batch 3. Now, the interesting thing about Buzzard's Roost that I really liked in how they differ themselves from just a normal MGP sourcer is, number one, they make their own barrels. So this is aged in a new lightly charred barrel and then also rebarreled in a slightly toasted barrel. And then they actually infuse that barrel, the toasted barrel, with Kentucky-grown tobacco smoke. So it's not your typical like cigar blend like you think of finishing, but it does provide a different mouthfeel with that toastedness, as well as the smoke from the cigar smoke. So it's very different. It's been on the market for a little while. Obviously, we tasted batch 3 when we were at Bourbon on the Banks in October. Just getting to do this now. So hopefully you guys, if you're seeing these out there, they do have a really great product. I think the thing that shines about most of their products is the mouthfeel. Now, a lot of that, in my opinion, comes from the idea of using high toast or low char or both. But they're doing something different than just sourcing MGP. So that's the thing that I really like to highlight with them. They're providing a different experience as well as something new and innovative at the same time, especially with the cigar rye. So let's get into this. We're going to start with batch 1. We'll check all these out on the nose first, and then I'll go through the palate and kind of talk through these as we taste them together. So cheers, everybody. Here's batch 1 on the nose. So right up front, you get a lot of those rye spices, almost a licorice note to it, black licorice note. That anise really comes strong. Yeah, almost, if you guys remember bottle caps, the root beer bottle caps, that's what it reminds me of a little bit. Yeah, that's the strongest like thing that I can get on that. Now I have tried these with cigars. I'll kind of give you some recommendations as we walk through these or as I wrap it up. But overall, that's like the overarching like one thing that stands out that's different about that particular rye. Here's batch 2. So again, they did the same processes, but obviously I think they obviously had different results with how much infusion of the smoke got in there. Here's batch 2. So this one's kind of tame compared to batch 1. Batch 1 really jumped out of the glass. These all have had about the same amount of air, so they're about halfway down. So more muted, a little bit more of that tobacco note, and also a little bit more char notes coming out in the smokiness of this second batch. Completely different than the first batch. I mean, night and day different as far as the nose. All right, let's go on to glass 3, which is batch 3. And that's even more subdued than 2. So it's crazy. Okay, that's interesting. Let me go back in and make sure I'm smelling what I'm smelling. Okay, and this is a weird note, but I get celery salt on this. It kind of gives me that feel of like a celery, but it's salty, like a brininess. And then a little bit more of that licorice note coming out in batch 3 as well. It's getting a little bit more air. A little bit more subdued. So I think 3 is like a combination of 1 and 2 as far as like some of the things that stand out, except for that celery salt note is not in either one of those. So that's new. The herbaceousness of the 3rd batch is really interesting. So let's go through these on the palate. Cheers, whiskey friends. Okay. Ooh, that's nice. So batch 1 proof, we're looking at 106, 52.5% alcohol. Is that 105 or 106? 105, excuse me. So it's really easy to drink, very approachable. I think the thing, like I said, that stands out about these particular whiskeys is their mouthfeel. So it's very velvety, very viscous, very approachable. Rye spice hits you towards the mid palate and into the finish. And then the finish really comes on a little bit stronger and hits you back again with that rye. Now, when you're tasting this, I don't get a lot of the tobacco smoke or tobacco notes on this, but I will say when I smoked with these particular whiskeys, it actually enhanced the flavor of the whiskey to bring that out, depending on what you paired with it. I think the in-between, like a medium wrap, if you're a smoker, like a Cameroon wrapper would really go well with this. I think you don't want to get too dark because of the proof. It's going to basically take over the whiskey. There are some Connecticut wrappers that I enjoy out there as well with these that would provide a little bit more earthiness to bring that out in the whiskey if that's something you like. But overall, I really like batch 1. That's why I got batch 2, to be honest, to see how much different it was. And it was completely different on the nose. Let's see how it stacks up in the palate. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. So you get a lot more of the toasted notes on this particular batch. Again, same proof. They didn't change the proof at all. So, wow. A lot longer on the finish too. A lot more viscous. So the difference in the char levels and the toast levels, I'd be interested in how different that they went on these, but it doesn't say any difference between batch 1 and batch 2. The finish is where this one shines. Wow. At 100 and a little over 100 proof, that finish is still going. You get a little bit of a hug. To me, it drinks a little bit hotter than 1, and it also drinks hotter than its proof point to me. Yeah, I like 2 a little bit better than 1 so far. I just like the mouthfeel on 2. It's even more viscous than 1. Provides that rye spice a little bit earlier and into the finish, and then continues long into the finish. Like I said, that one's a really long finish compared to batch number 1. So if you're a finish guy, batch 2 is your batch so far. If you're a nose person, I would say batch 1 is probably going to be your one that you enjoy more. Okay, 3's getting a little funky too. I know I said celery salt on this. Now it's getting a little bit different. I'm trying to figure out what that is. It's just that licorice note when you get air to it. It changes from when you're sitting still to when it gets air. It's different. I don't know how to describe it other than just saying that. So apologize if I don't have more adjectives for you. All right, let's go in for the taste. I don't know, guys. I think they progressively got better. 1 is really good, 2 is better than 1, and then 3 is actually better than 2. So they really kept the viscosity of 2. gave it a little bit more herbaceousness from one with the rye notes up front, and then kept that finish long and strong on batch 3. So if you're not a rye drinker, I would really, this would be one to experiment with, because I think that they're unique enough that it's not going to be all rye spice and what in the world's going on. If you're a whiskey drinker and a cigar smoker, these are really fun to play with different sticks and see what sticks pair best with it. I think 3 could even go a little bit darker than a Camarine wrapper. It could stand up to it. Man, it's still going. You can feel it down here in my chest now, finally. Man, that's impressive. I'd forgotten how good batch 3 was. Shout out to the Norseman for letting me borrow his bottle. Yeah, man, on the nose, even though it's a little bit different, a little bit funky, you still get that strong licorice note, but it's less like a bottle cap and more like a licorice, like anise, I think is how that's pronounced. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but man, that number 3 is really impressive. So if you're more of a traditional rye drinker, batch 1 is going to be your batch. If you are a cigar smoker and whiskey drinker, batch 2 or 3. And to me, so far, they've progressively gotten better. So if you have the choice of 1, 2, or 3, I would get 3. That's just my opinion. That's the one I enjoy the most. Now, I will say, like I said, I've paired different cigars with each of these. My favorite have been kind of that medium of the road. I don't want to overload. I still want to taste the whiskey. I still want to be able to bring out things in the whiskey as well with the cigar smoke. So, quick review on these. Definitely worth checking out. Their regular stuff, the toasted bourbon, I think they have toasted char 1 rye. They're doing a lot of different releases. They're single barrels. I got to taste one of them at the distillery itself. Well, I guess their storefront. They don't have a distillery, but the storefront where they were selling it in Louisville was great. So check these guys out. They're really doing something unique that none of these NDPs are doing. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Make sure you guys check us out every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. As we stream, we're going to be doing picks coming out later this month and on into the fall and next year. So get involved in this. Let's be whiskey friends. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Let's share whiskey. So thank you guys so much for hanging around.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello.